Hey everyone, I'd like to call this evening we have a finance committee meeting this evening. We'll start off with, but please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Mr. Malinowski.
Mr. Tippy.
Here.
Mr. Conley.
Present.
Mr. Getzlaw.
Present.
Mr. Schmidt.
Here.
Mr. Troxel.
Here.
Attorney Austin.
Present.
Chief Kuzan.
Here.
Deputy Chief Patterson.
Here.
Chief Dowling.
Here.
Deputy Chief Zabrowski.
Here.
Mr. Pintar, our
Here.
town engineer.
Here.
Mr. Gorman.
Here.
Mr. Hewitt.
Here.
Mr. Volkman.
Here.
Robin Teal. Present. Janice Malinowski. Present.
Gentlemen, annually we need to have a Board of Finance Committee meeting. And one of the items that we have to annually is have election of officers. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion for election of a nominee for president for the Finance Committee.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
who
Councilman.
were the officers for President, Vice President, Secretary last year?
And looking at the minutes, it is myself as president, Councilman Jerry Tippy as the vice president, and was there a secretary?
There wasn't, but there should
There wasn't, should. We went without a secretary all year.
be.
So should the secretary be like the recording secretary we have?
Yes,
Robin?
that's what I would like to do.
All right, then at this time, I'd like to make a motion to keep the officers the same and adding Robin Teal on as the secretary.
There's been a motion to nominate myself, Mike Troxel, as president, Councilman Jerry Tippy as vice president, and Secretary Robin Teal. Any more nominations? Motion for nominations being closed.
I'll second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Now we will, nominations are closed, so we move for elections of presidents for myself, Mike Troxel, Jerry Tippy, and as vice president, and Robin Teal, secretary. That's a motion before us.
So moved.
Motion. Give a second.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Now, gentlemen, before us, we have approval of minutes of the February 12, 2014 public meeting. Pleasure of the Finance Committee.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion on the minutes? Seeing and hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. This time we'll turn over to our clerk treasurer for reports on investments and reports on debt service and our review outstanding checks.
So first, I'd like to report our year ending December 31st, 2014 for interest revenue, interest earned. And there was a total for the year of $30,383.99, or $30,384. And if we could please have some action required to, that's just a report on that one. So we don't have to do approval, but it is informative. And to let you know, that is about a 28% decrease from the previous year, 2013. As you know, even with our 13 banks in town and financial institutions, the interest earnings are not increasing.
Well, and I know, Ms. Malinowski, I know as a clerk treasurer, you put out all our investments to all of the local banks.
Yes, we
And,
bid them out.
We take the highest interest that is
Yes,
given
we
to us
do.
each one. So.
The highest and most responsive, and generally speaking, the one with the most interest. But for instance, on our TIF money, you know, we have several $1 million there, and the best I could do is about maybe 1/4 of 1%, and that would be on the high end.
Well, I appreciate your efforts on getting the best interest you can for the town of Schererville on the investments.
Okay, and then next I have a report on debt service, and you should have these reports in front of you. I did one for ending December 31st, 2014, and one for, I projected one for year ending December 31st, 2015. And Mr. Volkman and I have discussed these reports, and I want you to pay particular attention to the projection for year ending December 31st, 2015, for our general obligation bond on 77th Avenue Bridge Fund. Please note that that's going to retire on January 15th of 2016. And Mr. Volkman and I have talked to the auditor's office, Mr. Mike Weiser. It would be to our best interest to keep that with our tax levy. So there may be a possible project coming up that I would be able to get on the tax rolls the middle of next year for about $2 million. We want to keep that levy.
We will, I'm sure we'll take that into consideration depending on what the project is and the cost on it.
Okay.
Thank you for bringing it to our attention.
But, yeah, that's one item. And if you look at the shots on Main, the economic development revenue bonds, the one element I want to stress here is that's paid solely from tax increment revenue, TIF monies, not property taxes. And we did add for the last year, the Radio Master lease purchase, and that's paid for with public safety dollars. Part of the income tax, not with property tax. Going forward, you have a report on the review of outstanding checks. The regulation is that after 2 years, or you can go back 2 years, in any outstanding checks on the book, you need to clear the outstanding checks and put that money back, that amount, into the fund that it initiated from. So in looking at this report, we have $1,405 to put back in the general bank. We have a garnishment of $184.58 that was made out to the clerk of the Lake Circuit Court that was not cashed, and it's over 2 years old. You may wonder why we have so many checks here for the water bank, and that's refunding of water deposits. Some people move, some people vacate the property. So we have a total of $1,464.59 that's not claimed that will go back into our water fund. And we simply have to wastewater one check that was to AT&T for $54.36. So we have a grand total outstanding check write-off for year 2014, $3,108.53. And for that, I am going to need action will be required from all of you members to vote that I can put that back in the initial fund.
All right, thank you. I have some questions on this, but to take official action, the pleasure of the Finance Committee on these outstanding checks to award them back into the appropriate fund.
Motion.
A motion to do so. And a second from Mr. Schmidt. Any discussion? Janice, have we attempted to try to contact these individuals or these companies?
Yes, absolutely. And like I said, there's just, when we're refunding water checks, we go back to the 60s and 70s. So many times the checks have been, or I should say the deposits have been ownership of more than one individual family. And it's just sometimes hard to track them down, but when they're 2 years old and they're not cashed, and it's regulated by the state that we have to send a refund check, it's time to take them off the books.
And one other question, is there something, and maybe Councilor Oshner can answer this, is there something we can, that the state has where this can be turned over to the state for properties that are unclaimed, that maybe some people sometimes will look and identify and look for their name? I mean, I know some of the small amounts, but I know there's one other way to try to get
I
these.
can certainly find that out for you, Mr. Jackson.
There's a way.
Okay, then that's up for discussion.
Okay. I would look into that. I mean, I think we'll move forward and probably accept these into these appropriate funds, but if there's a way to, or, yeah, I guess if we find out there's a way that we'll be taking them out and sending them a check, and I would find that's the way to do it.
So you're saying these water bank checks, these water...
Well, whatever's available, whatever we can.
I do know that when we're working with debt service, if there's any monies left on a debt service project, that gets put back into the general fund. But as far as outstanding checks, I will have to check with the state, and maybe Mr. Oshner, you can work with me on this and find out exactly what we need to do.
There's an unclaimed property section of the treasurer's office, or one of the offices down there that handles these types of matters.
They do handle the water deposits?
Yes.
Okay. we'll need to find out for sure if we want it.
Sure. you know that.
Okay.
Committee members, there's been a motion and a second. Any additional discussion on that? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, please saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0.
And if there is one more item that's not scheduled that I wanted to discuss, on December 30th, I went down to the county and picked up my settlement, our settlement for the property tax for 2013-2014. And we did collect on our property taxes for last year at 98.135%. Generally speaking, we can collect up to 101%, 101.5%. So just for example, in the general fund, for what was projected, we came out about $124,000 under what we could have received. And I talked to Mr. Weiser at the auditor's office, and he said that is probably due to the fact that people appealed, and they won their appeal on their property taxes, and so we got a little less money. I went to the Lake Central School Board yesterday and found out, though, that within our Tri-Town area, Rob James is their financial director, and he collected at about 95%, and he said when he averaged it out between the three towns, Dyer was about 95, 96%, Schererville was 98, and St. John was about 89. So I think St. John had more properties that were appealed than one. So I didn't think that was too bad. And then our excise tax, we collected about $44,000 less than what was projected. But we did make up the difference through our miscellaneous revenue. So all the components of the budget did fall into place for 2015. And we came within about $7,500 of what was projected in revenue and what we actually received that was over. We weren't under after all was settled between miscellaneous revenue, property tax, and excise tax.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
One housekeeping item that I forgot to mention at the beginning of the meeting. We started the evening off with an executive session, was properly notified. We need to continue that executive session after this meeting, so we'll reconvene into the back room for the executive session after this meeting. So I just want to make that announcement. Motion to adjourn the Finance Committee. Motion. Second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. We'll go into the redevelopment commission meeting.
I'd like to call the redevelopment meeting to order. I will accept the roll call from the Finance Committee. So we'll go on to the minutes of December 10, 2014, December 30, 2014 public meeting. Pleasure of the board.
So second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 5-0. Any additional claims, Mrs. Malinowski?
No additional claims.
No additional claims. Pleasure of the board.
Move to accept claims as presented, Mr. President.
Have a motion.
Second.
And a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 5-0. Any correspondence or reports, Mr. Volkman?
No correspondence or reports.
Any other members, council members? Okay, hearing none, there is no old business or new business, so I will take any business from the floor regarding redevelopment. Any business from the floor regarding redevelopment? Any business from the floor regarding redevelopment? Hearing none, this meeting is adjourned, and we'll move on to the Waterworks Board meeting.
Good evening. I'd like to call the Waterworks Board meeting for Wednesday, January 21st. The roll call will consist of three councilmen, minus Mr. Conley and Mr. Troxel. First item on the agenda is the minutes from December 10th and December 30th, 2014 public meetings.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Claims, any additional claims, Mr. Malinowski?
No additional claims at this time.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Correspondence, Mr. Volkman, any correspondence on the water?
No correspondence, just one report. We have had a very small water leak at the intersection of 85th and Norman Road on the curb. It's been leaking for quite some time. It's a very minor leak. However, with the onset of the freezing weather, it has created some problems with freezing, and it's prompted us to get it on the schedule to get it dug up and repaired. It will involve, with the position of that water line, we're going to have to close that road down tomorrow and close it to traffic. We have had it posted so that the people that use it are aware of it, but we expect it to take about anywhere between 4 and 8 hours to complete that repair, depending on what they run into it. That is scheduled to occur tomorrow.
Thank you, Mr. Hewlett. Any other comments? Board members? Staff? No comments. There's no old business. We'll move right into new business. Letter A, consider acceptance of the proposed engagement letter with London Winning Group related to the monthly compilation of the town of Schererville's water funds financial statements. Mr. Volkman?
This is our annual engagement letter with our financial consultants. They do the monthly reports that we all receive, giving us the financial status of the water utility.
Pleasure, board.
Yeah, Mr. President, I could ask a question.
Yes, Mr. Tippett.
Is there a price on here? Is there a dollar figure?
Janice.
Mr. Tippy, I can answer that. Yes, there is. It's $800 per month. They do a comparative, in-depth financial statement between the previous year up to that month and the current year. It's another set of eyes to look at our utilities as far as water and wastewater is concerned. And as you know, we have good internal controls at the clerk treasurer's office. However, with London Whitty taking over an overview of this on a monthly basis, if there should be a problem, and I'm not saying there is, we can take care of it instantly. Also, our auditors on a review basis, our state auditors, like this report because it gives it at a glance what is going on between the water and the wastewater utilities, up to date, yet a comparative figure.
Is this the same amount that they've been charging us?
I would say, since I can remember, it's been $800 per month. $800 for water and $800 for wastewater.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second. We have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? No further discussion, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0.
If I can just add one other item. When we go for a bond rating, the bond raters like Standard & Poor's love this report. It's all condensed.
Thank you, Mr. Malinowski.
You're welcome.
At this time, we'll open up to the floor regarding waterworks. Open up to the floor regarding waterworks. Any comments? No comments. This meeting is adjourned. We'll move right into utility. I'd like to call the utility board meeting for Wednesday, January 21st. The roll call will add Mr. Conley and Mr. Troxel back to the roll call. Minutes of December 10th and December 30th public meetings.
So moved, Mr. President.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Claims, Mrs. Malinowski, any additional claims?
Mr. Schmidt, no additional claims at this time.
Mr. President,
Yes. Mr.
I
Charles.
move we approve claims as presented.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Correspondence regarding utilities.
no correspondence.
Staff members, any comments on utilities? No comments? Council members, no comments? There's no old business, we'll move right into new business. And new business, letter A, consider acceptance of the sludge hauling contract between Stool Locker Soil Services and the town of Schererville.
same terms and conditions. Mr. Gorman?
Thank you, Mr. Schmidt. Gentlemen, before you, you have a contract between the town of Schererville and Stuhlmacher Soil Services. It is a 4-year agreement. It mirrors the last agreement we had with them, including quantities hauled and price. And this will take us into our sludge permit and sludge hauling permit with IDEM expires in around the same time period. We might have to add an extension to this contract, another 6 months or so, but that's what you have before you for your consideration.
Mr. Gorman, is it common for a 4-year contract?
That's what we did last time. They've been hauling our sludge and since they were able to lock in the price, I wanted to jump on it. So that's the reason we went that way, that route.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else have any questions?
Mr. Gorman?
Yes.
Yes, question. Are there any other sledge haulers in the area that use that work?
There are others out there. We've had, prior to me being in charge of the wastewater treatment plant, they used a couple of contractors, but we kind of ran into trouble with them. So we kind of wanted to stick with these guys. There's not a whole lot of people that do this. Plus the hauler actually owns the land, a lot of the land that we put the sludge on, so it's kind of a win-win.
Sure. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Letter B, this will be considered acceptance of the proposed engagement letter with Ron Woody Group related to the monthly contribution of the town of Schererville sewer funds financial statements. This is similar to the one we just passed on the water works. Mrs. Malinowski?
It is the sewer portion. We have the water, this is the wastewater.
Mr. President,
Mr. Trucks?
since this is the same as we have with the water board, you guys passed earlier, I move to accept this agreement from London Whitty Group as proposed.
I'll second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 5-0. Thank you. At this time, we'll open up to the floor regarding utilities. Open up to the floor regarding utilities. No comment on utilities. This meeting is adjourned. We'll move into the town council meeting.
The Schererville Town Council meeting to order at 7:43. Let the record show roll call the same as utility board we just had. Next item is minutes from December 10th, 2014 and December 30th, 2014 public meetings. Pleasure of the council members.
So moved.
Motion and a second. Any discussion of the minutes? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0 for minutes. Any additional claims, Mrs. Malinowski?
No additional claims at this time.
Pleasure of the claims by
So
council
moved.
members.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Pay claims. Any correspondence at this time, Mr. Vulcan, to your attention?
No correspondence.
Reports from staff members. Let's start with Jeff Hewitt. I know you gave a little one already. Is there anything else you want to add?
No report.
I'm glad you see you're feeling better. Looks like you're feeling better. Mr. Gorman, anything else to add?
No reports. Thank you.
Mr. Pintar?
Just wanted to update the board briefly on our pursuit of our second quiet zone. As you know, we are joint venture with St. John on pursuit of a quiet zone on the Norfolk Southern Railroad. If you dealt with the railroads, it's a very slow and tedious process. Not to mention the quiet zone process is slow and tedious as well. We have had some minor correspondence finally back and forth, and I'll be working with Mr. Wolfman on some agreements back and forth with Norfolk Southern to move this forward in hopes for spring construction of some safety improvements.
On that same note, Mr. Pintar, I did receive an email from the Highland Town Council President, Mr. Mark Herrick. he knows that we've handled a couple whistle-free areas in our community and asked if we wanted to do a joint venture with them regarding the Main Street junction over there by Shops on Main. So I just want to bring it up as publicly here. I just got the email the other day. And I'm not, I know we're working currently with St. John and that, and I don't know if that's something we could want to consider looking at with Highland. I know I have asked if they were done one, they have not. I'm not sure if you have any comments regarding that, Bob, regarding considering that.
If we had looked back that far to Main Street, because there's really not much residential around that, but if Highland wants to engage in it, we certainly would participate. And they may be interested in going back to 43rd, where they, along Spring Street, where they do have residences and maybe carrying that through their community, which makes sense because, the trains start sounding that whistle long before they get to that crossing. So certainly we would entertain that with them.
Well, if I can ask you, I know they've been inquiring, I'm not sure if you can maybe contact Mr. Herrick and get some contact information. You can do inquiry and go from there. You gotta be the first step and see what we can do there to assist or look at.
Sure.
Chief, present.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just briefly, 2 years ago, we were contacted about, we were due for our ISO evaluation as the Insurance Services Office. Our evaluation was put on hold because our inspector took ill. We've been recontacted, and I'm proud to tell you that Friday is our ISO inspection for the fire service for Schererville. As soon as they completed the report and we received that, we'll be happy to forward it to you.
Thank you. Chief Dowling?
Yes, Mr. President, just one report tonight. Annually we report our uniform crime report numbers to the council, and I'd be happy to do that this year for 2014. We report these numbers monthly to the FBI, like all the police departments around the country. And I'm happy to report tonight that in 2014 we had a 15% reduction in total crimes reported in our town. We had the actual reductions. As you know, the FBI requires us to report 7 categories: criminal homicide, forcible rape, robbery, assault, burglary, theft, motor vehicle theft. And overall, we had a 15% reduction. Notably, we had a 45% reduction in burglaries. So that concludes my report.
Thank you. Council members, anything to report at this time from any boards or commissions or liaisons who would want to?
Mr. Chucks, I just want to make a comment to Mr. Cruzan for his open house he had with demonstration of, and maybe you can just update this real quick, what the official term of what you were purchasing through a grant.
Thanks, Mr. Schmidt. We did receive a grant from the Fireman's Fund Insurance Company for nearly $17,000 in rescue airbags for auto extrication and trench rescue and specialized rescue. In addition, we received an additional $4,000 grant from the state of Indiana for some stabilizer bars. So altogether, we have about $20,000 in new rescue equipment on the Schererville Fire Department. And we had a nice demonstration on a Saturday morning at a little continental breakfast. I appreciated all the work that our firefighters did, and thanks for your support. And the last thing, the bit of information that I have to provide to them is they want to know the first time we use them. So.
And I'd also like to thank the Times for being there with their staff, Chaz for covering the story and the art and the pictures you had in the paper. And most of all, Mr. Cruzan, thank your firemen for, we found out really what good cooks you all are. It was a good breakfast.
Councilman, anything else to report at this time? I want to mention I served on the Lake County Executive District Board, and at our last meeting there was there had been a search for a new executive director, and at that meeting was found out one of the candidates had withdrawn his name, and then the other 2 candidates, there was also questions regarding the current salary that was being offered and the benefit package being offered. So it was voted 20-3 to move forward with increasing the salary from $75,000 to $85,000 and to look at the benefit package that is offered at that position. There's also was talk about those benefits that are currently offered at the county level, regarding PERF and also health insurance, be included with the district. Currently, the district has their own IRA program and then their own health benefits there. So there will be an analysis of that. So as soon as I hear more on that, I will let everybody know.
Chairman?
Yes.
One more comment, just a little update. I might be speaking a little bit too soon, but I was able to meet with the owners of the Giusappos and Bullpen Lounge, along with the library board, the library board president and CEO of the library, to try to update the entrance into the Bullpen with using the stoplight that exists at the library. This has been something that's been ongoing for the last couple of years, and Commissioner Shub and myself and the owners of the Bullpen all met with the library board. It's still at the early stages. The owners of the business are going to present an engineering status on it, you know, what they would like to do, and then that would be took to the library board for approval to try to open that parking lot up. As you know, Mr. Dowling, I'm sorry, you were there also, and Mr. Dowling supplied us with the accident reports there. And if anybody's familiar with that entrance into there and the hotel next to it, it's a very dangerous entrance, mostly when you're going westbound. Coming eastbound is not that much of a problem, but going westbound is a real problem. So if we could get the parking lot open, I think it'd be a safety issue in our town, and I think it would be a great addition. As you know, the library, the lounge and the hotel are already connected. Their parking lots are already connected to a joint venture between the two of them. So if we could get that parking lot opened up, I think it'll save some accidents possibly, and as long as everyone's good neighbors, I think it will be a great asset to that area.
Thank you, Councilman.
But I'll report when the next meeting is with the library and see how that goes.
Thank you, Councilman. I know, Mr. Volkman, we had worked on that and worked with some board members or the building. Who was it we worked with over there?
I think it was their property manager
Regarding that. And we had got some correspondence back from them also. It didn't seem that they were too interested at the time for doing anything. But getting the board members here, it sounds good.
Yeah, they do have new board members, and I think they're pretty happy with their neighbor. They have different owners there the last couple of years, since the previous business. So maybe we'll be able to make some progress.
Good, thank you. Anything else from council members at this time? Hearing seeing none, we'll move into public comments regarding agenda items. At this time, if there's an item on the agenda you want to make a comment about, you're welcome to make a comment now. Hearing and seeing none, move on to old business, which there is none. We go next item, new business. Under new business, we have ordinance number 1860, which is an ordinance amending town ordinance number 1856, being an ordinance establishing an activities fee schedule for the town Department of Parks and Recreation and all matters related thereto, and repealing all town code sections or town ordinances or parts thereof in conflict of interest. I know, council members, we did receive an item from the park board that wanting us to consider an increase in some of the fees under Exhibit A. Mr. Volk, would you like to add anything to this?
This is pretty much become an annual event as the park board evaluates their programming and their fee structure. Most of these, as you look at that, if you look at Exhibit A, 4 of the items are actually new programs that they're going to be offering, and the other 2 are new activities. So these are actually all new things that they've added to their program.
Actually, a couple more, I think, 4 price changes.
And those are pretty reflective. Those are, most all those things, they have outside instructors, so the fees associated with the outside instructor are incorporated into the program fees.
Good, thank you. Pleasure of the council on ordinance number 1860.
So moved, Mr. President.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion or what's before us? Hearing, seeing none, all in favor, saying aye.
Aye.
Motion to adopt. Motion to adopt. Second. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
The ordinance requires publication.
Thank you. Next item B is ordinance number 1861. This is an ordinance establishing a town facade improvement program for the downtown area of the town of Schererville, Lake County, Indiana, and all matters related thereto. Mr. Vogt, would you like to brief us on this item?
This is the downtown facade improvement program. It was a whole project that we started back in 2012 and 13. We actually had a draft document that was circulated, and tonight we are moving towards this and then follow up on the TIF district, is to adopt these program initiatives and incorporate them into the town code.
Thank you. Pleasure of the council members on ordinance number 1861.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. President? Bob,
Yes.
can you just, I know it's a full document, but can you just give us a brief description of what it is?
The facade program is primarily for commercial businesses to upgrade the facade facing Joliet Street, and actually the area incorporates areas on Austin Avenue and also Anna Street. But it's primarily it's not for residential structures, it's all for commercial structures. It covers things like signage, building facade improvements, and windows and stuff like that. So it's strictly for exterior facade improvements to existing structures.
And the policy states the amounts of what someone could see and what they could ask for and all that.
Yeah, this is more or less like a grant program. And it does have dollar amounts that are figured either percentages or it has ceilings.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I have one quick question for Mr. Volkman. The program requires some type of an evaluation board.
It does. There's a pretty thorough application process that an applicant has to go through, and it's evaluated by the board, and then there's a lengthy approval process that goes along with it.
And the board would be chosen how?
By the council.
But
You guys would.
based on the parameters that are in the program.
That's correct.
Okay, and if we were to approve this tonight, then next meeting we would approve the board and move forward, is it?
If you adopt this tonight, I've got to change some dates and stuff in the documents, and they're basically a PDF, so I've got to get them in a program that I can actually amend them, or I have to have time to amend them. We get, the one that was first drafted, the president was different, and the officers were good, so I have to get it, if you adopt this tonight, I'll get that amended, and then we'll get the final document circulated to everybody, and there'll be further action that we have to take for implementing the program. But this will allow us to start accepting an application if somebody's interested in doing it.
Thank you.
And on the same, yes, Councilor?
I'd recommend that you have introductory reading only tonight, and that the cleanups that Bob referenced, and I didn't realize you had a PDF on Bob.
I only have the,
That kind of slows the process.
so yeah, introduction, and I think we got second reading next month.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So there's a recommendation that we do just an introductory reading on ordinance number 1861 until we get some the documents in an order that is changeable. So is there a motion to accept it as I just presented?
So moved.
Is there a motion?
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. And we'll address this next month, at the next public meeting.
So just for clarification, we'll get the ordinance in there, and we will also appoint a board.
The ordinance you have in front of you tonight, the actual guidelines of the program, need to be, they need to be updated to the current date of adoption.
No, I understood that.
And that'll be next month.
Right, and then we also have to appoint a board, correct?
Correct.
Is there a criteria, like who gets appointed to this board, like the other boards that we have here?
You know, Rob, I've read so much stuff, I don't remember.
There is a three-member board, and I think it's a plan commission member, a redevelopment member,
Yeah.
it's one, I can't remember what the third
It
one
might be a
is.
citizen member or something like that.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure we get this in place. I mean, you know, this has been a long time coming.
And we have, I mean, if we don't get any applications, then there's no reason to put it together, any board members together unless we have an application, so.
So I'm sure there will be applications coming forth.
I hope so.
One other point of clarification. This only applies to the downtown, the designated downtown redevelopment area.
Right,
Doesn't apply to any of the other overlay districts.
that's correct.
So it starts in the beginning of Joliet and comes all the way down.
There's a map in the actual program.
And it incorporates Joliet Street, and up Hannah Street as well.
Very good.
Mr.
Yes.
Mr. President. So can someone put an application after tonight? Are we announcing that we accepting applications?
We can accept an application, sure.
But we don't have the document all corrected.
Well, the application part is fine. The changes to the document are very minor. They're just like changing dates and title pages, and then the council members, you know, the positions, the president's changed, the vice president's changed, so those are the things that need to be straightened out.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you. Move on to the next item. Item C is a resolution 2015-1, a resolution authorizing and approving the entry into a joint and local cooperative agreement with the town of St. John, Indiana, for mutual use and personnel assistance for building inspections and permit review services between the town of Schererville, Indiana, and the town of St. John, Indiana, in 2015, and all matters were put in there too. Mr. Volkman, this was the same thing we did last year,
This is.
and how has everything gone last year?
Actually, within the last year, in 2014, there was no exchange of services, but in talking to town manager Steve Kill, I suggested that we keep it in place just in the event that either town would be to, use this interlocal agreement to provide services within the community.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes,
Mr. Volkman, does St. John have a building commissioner on staff?
They do. I think actually they have two inspectors. They have, their building activity is a lot, especially on the residential side, a lot more than ours. And I think they actually hired a part-time, they have a full-time inspector plus a part-time inspector.
Mr. President,
yes, Councilman.
one of those employees is full-time, fairly full-time in the Lake Central School improvement projects, and the other is on staff in the alcohol.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I move to approve resolution 2015-1.
Been a motion to approve?
Second.
And a second, any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next, we have resolution 2015-2, which is a resolution approving a tax increment financing, otherwise known as a TIF, policy and program to the town of Schererville, Lake County, Indiana, and all matters related thereto. Mr. Volkman, can you brief us on our activity in this?
Now, this is a little different than the downtown, as this is being adopted by resolution rather than by ordinance. I'd have to let Mr. Washington explain why.
For ease of adoption and use and flexibility.
And that's kind of what I anticipated, because that document is a little more fluid. And you have a copy in your packets of the final document, pending date review. We made some, again, we did some corrections to that document, because these were adopted last year, or formulated last year. So, but I did have this in a Word document, so I was able to make some amended, so that the title pages and stuff were correct. There were several references in this document to the redevelopment commission, and in their adoption of the document, which I changed to the council. And so some of those things, Dave, just have to review. But as you're adopting by resolution, it leaves a little more flexibility in the document. Is that true, Dave?
It is, and I think you can anticipate there'll be a need for flexibility as you evaluate applications for requests. Hence, we did it this way.
Just for the public, this is a policy that's put in place in our TIF district area, which is which covers some of our area in town from 30 Klein Avenue to the north boundaries and along Route 41 there. And this policy is put in place to allow those who want to apply for any support from the town that is in that TIF district, if they're looking for some help regarding some of the tax increment financing that will be generated from their properties. So we put together this committee that Councilman Conley worked on with Janice Malinowski and Tom Anderson from the Planning Board and Bob Volkman and Todd Igarashi from the Arts Group, and came up with an extensive program there. And in addition to that, in speaking with the labor, we have Randy Palmetier here to make sure that those who are looking for any funding and get any funding from the town of Schererville, there's a PLA agreement that would be signed for those projects on that. So that's just a little snapshot of what we've been working on this past year. With that being said, pleasure of the
Mr. Chairman, I have one comment under the project labor agreement. We have a comment there, estimated contract cost exceeding $350,000. Was the purpose of that to keep away from residential and strictly on commercial? Is that the reason why we have it at $300,000 or $350,000?
yes.
Because if it goes on to further say that it can be modified, by the commission under construction trends.
Mr. President,
Yes.
that's fluidity, Tom, that was anticipated by doing it in this form and fashion. And ultimately, the decisions made are here by the policymakers upon application, upon completion, upon vetting and analysis.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I move to approve resolution 2015-2.
Second. Motion and a second. Any discussion on 2015-2? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, so say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next item is item E. Consider acceptance of fire service contract between St. John Township and Town Sheriff for 2015. Mr. Volkman, this is probably something I know we do annually. Any comments on this?
Annual contract, there is a slight increase, but Joe, about $1,000.
I don't, it went to the clerk's office, I thought, I didn't see it, Bob.
Well, the amount this year was $29,426, and I think last year was $28,000. But I don't remember the rest of
Mr.
it.
Goldman, I would have to go back and check those figures to be correct. I'm thinking the 29,426 is possibly about a 3% increase.
So there's a
Just
slight.
guesstimating.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I would also share that I was down at the State House for the last day and a half, and one of the bills that's being presented this year would be an increase in tax base to the townships for fire protection. And I know that I talked to St. John Township trustee Jean Shepherd in December, and she told me that she would be pursuing that as well. So as much as we appreciate the increase this year, I know that trustee Shepherd is working to increase our contract every year.
Increase our contract here.
Increase our contract, our agreement, the cost. So what we receive.
The revenue that we receive off this contract, she works to increase it. I just think this year, maybe it's based on that sheet that the tax base is growing, so possibly we're getting 3%.
And I think that amount does sound a
It
little
does
bit
sound
more, Bob.
high.
I'm not sure how far north it is, if it's $1,000, but I know, it seems to me, Janice, that Last year, or 2 years ago, it was 27, and then 28. If it's 29 now, it seems to reason that there is a little bit of an increase there.
I have all the contracts
Yeah.
going back and the actual percentage rate, so I can check this in.
Well, with that being said, regarding this item, I know there's a question regarding the dollar amount, but if the dollar amount is in here correct, $29,426, would the council be interested in moving forward with this contract with St. John Township Trustee's Office?
Mr. Chairman, just for clarification, this is the money that the township pays us, right? Right, Mr. Austin?
It is.
And I might add, it is received into our general fund, so it's miscellaneous revenue, not general fund.
But it's strictly for fire service?
And other emergencies and,
Correct. I mean, it goes into miscellaneous revenue, but yes, in essence, it is used to support our fire department.
Which is under the general fund also.
It is the number 2 department of the 7 department of our general fund.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. President,
yes, Councilor?
the fire department gets an approved budget every year, and these are funds that into the miscellaneous revenue for the general fund that support the budget of the fire department.
Well, by state statute, a township does have to provide fire protection, and that's exactly what this is.
Move to approve, Mr.
A
Chairman.
motion to approve?
Second.
A second. Any additional discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, please saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Next item. Consider recommendation from town manager and clerk treasurer regarding ordinance number 1828, fourth quarter bonus in 2014. I have a letter here signed by Mr. Volkman and Ms. Malinowski. Dear President Trotro, please be advised that the Schererville clerk treasurer, Janice Malinowski, and I have reviewed and evaluated the requirements of 2014 salary ordinance number 1843. We have completed the budget and expense analysis required, and we are in agreement in making the recommendation to the town council that due to the increase in expenses, that funding is not currently available to support the third quarter bonus compensation for the town of Schererville employees. Is this third quarter or fourth quarter?
Fourth
Should be
quarter.
Okay, there's a typo in the letter, but we'll get that corrected. So with that being read, pleasure of the council members to accept the recommendation from the clerk treasurer and town manager.
So moved.
With a motion
Second.
and a second, any discussion? Hearing and seeing none.
If I could just add, Mr. President, where it says due to increases in expenses, part of that is that we did give a 3% raise starting this year, so looking into the forecast. And also, we increased our health insurance funding per employee from $12,000 to $14,000 per year.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
There's been a motion and a second. All in favor, please saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item G. Consider acceptance of Florida Safety Attorney Agreement between the law firm of Leeser and Wiley LLP and the town of Schererville. Mr. Volkman, is this the standard agreement that we had last year with this firm?
Yes, it's the same agreement. The hourly rate is $150 per hour.
Pleasure of the council members on this agreement with Leeser and Wiley.
So moved.
Got a motion?
Second.
And a second, any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next item, consider issuing business license for massage establishment to Lilin Fuel, doing business as Oriental Moon Massage for Board of Safety recommendation deferred from December 10, 2014. Members, as you know, this was before us last month, and one of the items we wanted to do was review the site, and I know Councilman Getzlaff had went out there to review the site. Would you like to report on that?
Yes, I went out with Mr. Volkman, and everything seemed to be in order with the codes and everything, so we're okay if there was other discussion about names, correct?
That's correct.
Is that right?
Petitioner is here, JR. And I don't know Have you made consideration on a name change?
Yeah, we have
Please, sir, please step to the microphone, mention your name and address for the record, please.
Johnson Salvador, for the business at 2319 River Avenue, and my wife Vivian Walk. I was figuring the name to be a possible one was Golden Finger, Golden Sun, or Sunflower. You need to tell us, sir, which one you're going to pick. And we're not going to pick the name for you. That's
Something that is appropriate, so.
Mr. President?
Yes.
What's the address of the 2319?
River Avenue.
It's over there in the strip mall by the Press and Lunch House. What were those names again, sir?
Golden Finger, Golden Sun, or Sunflower.
Can you repeat the second one?
Golden Sun.
What was it? The sunflower?
Golden Sun, and
Golden Sun?
the third one was Sunflower.
Are you looking for us a recommendation here, or?
I know y'all didn't like our Oriental food, so I was I know y'all not supposed to, but I just thought maybe it's something you would feel more comfortable with. Because I want y'all to hear the opinion, because this is you're making a decision for us, so I just want to make sure. you feel
Well, I think, in my opinion, any of the two that you mentioned, the last two, sunflower is appropriate, or whatever, that would be
Golden
fine.
Sun.
Pardon me?
Golden Sun.
Golden Sun's fine.
Golden Sun.
What was the first one, Mr. Trent?
Golden Finger.
Golden Finger. I would say Golden Sun, or, yeah, Golden Sun is fine.
Golden Sun or Sunflower.
So, well, let's decide on one, so we can put our recommendation here.
I'm sorry, what is it? Golden Sunflower. Sunflower?
Sunflower. Anything else you'd like to add? I know you've been patient here with us and making sure that you meet all the requirements of the town here. So anything else you'd like to add? I know you're anxious to get open.
Yes, sir. Ready to take over.
Thank you. We'll take care of business right now. Okay, gentlemen, with the comments from the owners of the Sunflower Massage Parlor, I'd like to entertain a motion to consider issuing a business license for the massage establishments of Leland Fuel doing business as Sunflower Massage per Board of Safety recommendations.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Been a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Councilman Tippy. Any other discussion? Hearing seen none, all in favor, saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And Mr. Volkman, when can they pick up that permit?
You can pick it up tomorrow.
Tomorrow morning. Thank you. Thank you for your patience. Next item, item I, consider acceptance of extension of an asphalt service paving service contract, 2014 pricing from Walsh and Kelly, asphalt paving contract 2015. So Mr. Volkman, this is a continuation of their annual pricing from last year.
That is correct.
Councilman Schmidt?
Mr. Baldwin, we've gone to the last 6 to 8 years, we have gone to your contracts, right?
We have. So last year, we bid all of the vendors out, and out of the, the 4 that we do for landscaping, asphalt services, concrete, and sand and stone, we've heard from 2 of them, landscaper and Walsh and Kelly. I did talk with Pat Colby from COEX. He said because of the volatility in the concrete market, that's going to have to go back out for bid. Because concrete, I guess, is shot up in cost. But I haven't heard from, have you heard from Walters?
No, I have not. I haven't heard anything official, but I did hear that the quarry prices were going up this year.
So, Mr. Volkman, if we pass this, then next year we will have to go out for bid for all 4.
Well, we'll probably go out for bids for 2 of them at least this year if you accept the 2 extensions to the current vendor, to these current vendors. But we have been in practice of, extending the contract one time and then going out for bid again the following year. But that's your preference.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve Walsh and Kelly for the asphalt.
There's been a motion for Walsh and Kelly extension 2015. Is there a second? Second. There's a second. Any discussion? Hearing seen none, all in favor, saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next item, item J, is acceptance consider acceptance of extension landscaping service contract for 2014 pricing from Seasons Landscaping Specialties to 2015. Mr. Volkman, anything to add on this?
Basically, it's the same thing he was our vendor selected last year, and he's all his prices for this year as well.
How was his work performance?
No problem.
No problems. A couple issues, couple complaints that were addressed almost immediately.
Very good.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Getzlaw?
I'm sorry, I really hate to be redundant here, but I just want to get this straight in my head. Because I thought at one point, we were supposed to bid out every year.
Well, we haven't as practice. We usually go on 2 years if the contractors offer that extension. And, but it's your prerogative. They send the letter offering to extend their contract.
We did not have anything said. I thought we talked about bidding out a while back.
Mr. Chairman. I believe, yeah, Rob, the issue there is as long as they didn't increase their prices, and like Bob said, as long as they sent a letter with the same prices, I think the last 8 years that I've been there, we've gone 2 years. Is that correct, Mr. Volkman?
Yes.
So the second year, we will send out bids.
We extend them at one time, and then now next year we'll bid these out. We won't accept.
I mean, I understand, that you might just only get that one person, but I always feel that there should always be a fair shot for anyone who's in the same type of business.
Certainly.
Thank you.
Hearing no more comments, pleasure of the council on this extension.
I have one more comment, Mr. President. Real briefly, Mr. Volkman, this contractor for the landscaping, just give me a quick rundown of what all they do.
They mow, like little roadside, little parks or something like that we have to do. They mow the stuff for public works that we used to have college kids do, like the water stations and stuff like that.
And they do all of our top parks, right?
They do all of the top lots for John. I don't know what other place they do. They do some wastewater treatment plant mowing for Jim. So it's a lot more cost effective to subcontract it out than it is to do it in-house.
Good example, they do Plum Creek Drive medians, they do the right of way along Main Street, all of our little spots around town like that.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve, but Jeff, could we also get the little section on Janet's Drive added to that?
We
That's right,
will
that's right.
work toward that,
That's
yes.
right by the culvert.
We will have to do some diligence on pricing on it and make sure that it falls in line with everything else so that we don't violate the state statute. But there's some latitude there.
I move to approve, Mr. Chairman.
And a motion to approve. There's a second to approve landscaping services from Seasons.
Second.
There's a second. Any additional discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next item, item K, consider interlocal cooperation agreement between and among several Lake County government entities with the purpose of providing resources to support the extension and improvement of commuter rail service provided by the Northern Indiana Commuter Transit District or the South Shore Railroad Extension. This is deferred from November 9th. Gentlemen, we deferred this this is the South Shore funding that we're all aware of. And back last year, we went ahead and approved a 34% of our CEDA money to go towards this funding from town of Schererville. I know since this rest of the year, I know there's been other communities that had public gatherings, and there were different amounts of percentages that were used to fund this from their communities. Recently, I know that there's a bill in the state legislature, I know Mr. Volkman had looked into it, I think it was in local papers also, that some of our local state legislatures were moving forward with a bill that will help fund the RDA And with that funding, there was some cooperation that some of that funding had to go to the South Shore. In addition to that, I haven't heard anything since then, but there's also some incentives to those communities that were participating with the South Shore funding for each community. Mr. Volkman, have you heard anything more regarding the movement of that bill? And has
I haven't heard any, it's pretty early in the legislative session for any action of, first being remanded to the committee for review. But in regards to the participation, talking to Representative Al Slager, he had told me that there was a couple renditions of the bill, but still the language being worked out, but there was like a threshold at proposed in the bill, 20%. Any community that was 20% or above would be able to then apply for matching grants for any transportation-related project related to the railroad in the future. And they would be given preference towards that funding. And then if there was an increase above that 20% threshold, as that percentage went up, so did the amount that you could request in matching grant. Certainly because the language of the state statute has not been fully formulated and vetted through the legislative process, we really don't know what it's going to come out on the other end. But the whole gist of the legislation was to tie the RDA funding to the South Shore, and also to provide some benefit for the communities that did commit to higher levels of participation in the local funding for the South Shore extension.
Thank you, Bob. Gentlemen, with that being said, yes, go ahead, Councilman Smith.
No, Mr. Chairman, my question is, are we looking for a certain percentage or a motion with a certain percentage, or are we looking for participation?
Well, in light of the new bill that's being proposed down there, I'm asking that we don't take any action on this until next month, and maybe we'll have a better understanding with what the bill looks like, and maybe that may weigh into some of our consideration regarding approving it in an open agreement at the current 34%, or if we want to consider anything smaller from our community, is my recommendation.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Toohey?
I must have missed it in the paper, but I certainly do like the idea of being given incentives on future transportation projects. So I agree with you. I'd like to wait to see how that bill plays out. There's a very good chance that will change the way I would vote. I also would like to bring up that we had talked about putting together our own seated plan for spending. I know we have a lot going on, and that may have escaped us, but maybe between now and then we could start an outline of that to keep in perspective what we might commit to.
Sounds good. Mr. Volkman, if you can make sure you generate an email to all council members here and to to all staff